Hey everybody, here we are at Aunt Angel's reading room, and I apparently can't keep the camera still. And it's time to start a new book. It's been a while since I did one, and so I picked one out especially for my buddy Surya, but also for the few people of you that are kind of following along and using this as reading. We're going to read, this is Revolutionary War on Wednesday from the Magic Treehouse series. This is number 22 of the Magic Treehouse series by Mary Pope Osborne. And if you're not familiar with the Magic Treehouse series, and you're in second grade or third grade, this is a great series for you to check out. All of the books have about 10 chapters in them, and it's really interesting. And we're going to start with the prologue, which kind of explains how the Magic Treehouse works. But it's about these two kids who travel in time, basically, and get to experience things that happened in the world, or sometimes maybe it's not real historical things, maybe it's imagination. But this one happens to be based on history. And so Revolutionary War on Wednesday is going to take the kids to the time of George Washington and when the War for Independence was starting. Now, this book is worth 1 AR point, okay? And the quiz number is in the comments. So be sure and like and follow my video, all right? So here we go. We start with a picture of books and the prologue. And this is what it says. Now, a prologue, by the way, a prologue is a little bit of an introduction to a story that it's something that you need to know. So don't ever skip over the prologue, but it might not be exactly a part of the story. It's just kind of background information, okay? So here we go, prologue. One summer day in Fog Creek, Pennsylvania, a mysterious treehouse appeared in the woods. 8-year-old Jack and his 7-year-old sister Annie climbed into the treehouse, and they found that it was filled with books. Jack and Annie soon discovered that the treehouse was magic. It would take them to the places in the books. All they had to do was point to a picture and wish to go there. Along the way, Jack and Annie discovered that the treehouse belongs to Morgan Le Fay. Morgan is a magical librarian from Camelot, the long-ago kingdom of King Arthur. She travels through time and space, gathering books. In Magic Treehouse books number 5 through 8, Jack and Annie helped free Morgan from a spell. In books 9 through 12, they solved 4 ancient riddles and became master librarians. In the Magic Treehouse books 13 through 16, Jack and Annie had to save 4 ancient stories from being lost forever. In Magic Treehouse books 17 through 20, Jack and Annie freed a mysterious little dog from a magic spell. In the Magic Treehouse books number 21 through 24, that's what this one is, because it's number 22, Jack and Annie have a new challenge. They must find 4 special kinds of writing from Morgan's library to help save Camelot. They are about to set off to find the second of these. So that is the prologue. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. Chapter 1. The title is Wednesday. "Wake up, Jack," Annie whispered. Jack opened his eyes. He looked at his clock. It was 6 a.m. "Come on," Annie whispered. She was standing at his bedroom door, already dressed. "Now?" said Jack. "Yeah, it's Wednesday. We have to go to the treehouse," she said. "Oh, man, Wednesday," said Jack. Suddenly, he was wide awake. "We have to help save Camelot," said Annie. I know, said Jack, scrambling out of bed. "Meet you out front," said Annie. Jack quickly changed into his jeans and t-shirt. He threw his notebook and pencil into his backpack. Then he slipped down the stairs and out the front door. Annie was waiting in the gray early light. "All set?" she whispered. "Yep," said Jack. So here they are. She's waking him up, getting him out of bed. They took off running across their yard. They ran down their quiet street and into the Frog Creek woods. Soon they came to the tree house. They climbed up the rope ladder. In the early light, they saw Morgan's note, the same note they'd found on Sunday. Jack picked it up and read aloud. Dear Jack and Annie, Camelot is in trouble. To save the kingdom, please find these 4 special kinds of writing for my library. Something to follow, something to send, something to learn, and something to lend. Thank you, Morgan. Annie picked up a piece of paper lying on the floor. It was a list of rules from the famous nurse Clara Barton. They had met her on their journey to the Civil War. On Sunday, we found the first special writing, said Annie. Something to follow. Yeah, said Jack, and now we need to find the second thing, something to send. He picked up a book lying near the note. The cover showed soldiers on a snowy riverbank. The title was The Revolutionary War. Jack frowned. Uh-oh, said Annie. Another war, said Jack, sighing. You still want to go? Said Annie. We have to, said Jack. He hated the suffering they'd seen in the Civil War, but they had no choice. They had to help Morgan and save Camelot. He pointed at the cover of the book. I wish we could go there, Jack said. The wind started to blow. The treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster, and then everything was still. Absolutely still. Chapter number 2. Day or night? Jack shivered. The wind blew hard. It's cold, he said. He could see his breath in the air. Wrap your scarf tighter, said Annie. Jack looked down. He had a wool scarf around his neck. He was also wearing woolen pants that buttoned at the knees and a coat and a hat with 3 corners. On his feet were funny-looking shoes with buckles. In the place of his backpack was a leather bag. Annie was wearing a long coat over a long dress. Jack pulled his scarf tighter, and then he and Annie looked out the window. They'd landed in the trees near an icy river. The sky was gray and heavy with clouds. Look at that. There sure are a lot of books in that treehouse. It's almost day, or almost night, I can't tell, said Annie. Yeah, I hope it's almost day, said Jack. I wonder where we'll find something to send, said Annie. Jack shrugged. First, we have to find the Revolutionary War. He opened their research book. By the gray light, he read, Over 200 years ago, the United States was made up of 13 colonies ruled by Britain. From 1775 until 1782, American patriots fought for independence from Britain. This is called the Revolutionary War. Jack took out his notebook. He wrote, American patriots fight for independence from Britain. Jack turned the page. There was a picture of soldiers in red uniforms. He read aloud, During the Revolutionary War, British soldiers wore red uniforms. For this reason, they were called redcoats. Jack wrote in his notebook, British equals redcoats. Wow, snow, said Annie. Jack looked up from his writing. Annie was holding her hand out the window. A few snowflakes blew into the treehouse. Not much yet, said Jack, but we better find the special writing soon. Well, stop reading and come on, said Annie. She buttoned up her coat and started down the ladder. Okay, said Jack. He packed the research book and his notebook into his bag. Then he followed Annie. When they stepped onto the ground, there were more snow flurries. The sky was growing darker. I'm afraid it's almost night instead of day, said Jack. Yeah, said Annie, looking around. Hey, look, people. She pointed up the river. In the misty distance was a campfire. Several men sat around the campfire. They all held muskets. "Maybe they can help us," said Annie. She started away, but Jack grabbed her. "Wait, I think they're soldiers," he said. "They have muskets. Remember the muskets from the Civil War? The guns that the soldiers carried?" "Oh, yeah," said Annie. "They might be redcoats," said Jack. "Let's sneak closer and get a better look at their uniforms." "Quick," said Annie, "before it's too dark to see." Well, I'm already excited to see what else is going to happen in this book. That's the end of chapter 2. So you have to tune in next time for chapter 3 when we find out what happens next in Revolutionary War on Wednesday. See you later.